Hi, I'm Paul Monfilio, head varsity baseball coach at Wayland High School in Wayland, Massachusetts. Thank you for visiting our YouTube channel. Hopefully there's some videos here that you like and that can be useful to you. If you have an opportunity and maybe you like our videos, head on over to our program website, www.gowarriorsbaseball.com. You can possibly support us there by purchasing something in our team store. Lots of cool apparel, hats, sweatshirts, jackets, all kinds of good things there. And so thank you very much. Go Warriors. This video, I think, in probably large part is for the young players in the town of Wayland to get a little bit of familiarity with our program, certainly with myself, and see how we go about our business and the things that we care about here in our program. And of course, for their parents as well. It's also for the people around town who really kind of want the same thing. A little bit more access, a little bit more insight into our program. I think this video could be a great way for them to see that just a little bit. Of course, they can always come down to practices on Thursdays and check us out and see how we go about our practices whenever we're out in the field. And definitely, of course, this is online. Anybody out there in the country or around the world that wants to use this video to get a little bit more insight into baseball and maybe pull one or two things out of this that they can apply to their own program and their own development, that's pretty cool too. And then the last probably group of people is, our own players who, I think we try to do a really good job of communicating our expectations and our goals and our priorities and all that stuff, but I'm sure they could always use a refreshment. Well, I think our program is about caring and it's about commitment. Okay, so there's certainly a lot of baseball responsibility that I have, but my players, people always come first, and I just want to work for them to help them mature into responsible and successful adults. So, and happy adults. So I think that's really important. There's no doubt I'm here to coach baseball, but I don't think I really would prioritize baseball over the personal connection side of what we're trying to do here. Coaching philosophy, if I can give you a little bit of anecdote first. Just a little background into how I got to my coaching philosophy. So yeah, I love coaching. I'm really serious about coaching. I've been coaching now for about 15 years, maybe a little bit under that. And so, I've read a lot of books, a lot of coaching books, a lot of biographies, autobiographies, Vince Lombardi, John Wooden, Bill Belichick, and Bobby Knight, Pete Carroll, a lot of different coaches, and among sort of the things that I wanted to pull out of those readings was a coaching philosophy, because I think it's important. I think it gives the coach direction. I think it gives the program direction. It's sort of like a mission statement, and of course that's pretty important business. So here I was for a long time going through these books, trying to get a little this guy, a little that guy's philosophy, and I thought that I'd put them all together and I'd come up with a heck of a philosophy. Of course, it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, and it took me a while to come to that realization, I think. But eventually, what you come to understand is that a coaching philosophy is sort of a very kind of personal thing. I think it is reflective of a coach's experiences, life experiences, coaching experiences, but perhaps probably life experiences more. It's a reflection of a coach's values and their priorities and their vision for their program and the objectives that they want to lay out in player development and probably other factors as well. So, ultimately, I had to really kind of focus in on myself and reflect on what makes me me. I think the level of play in which you coach at makes a difference. And I wanted to coach at this level. This level to me is really important. So what I came up with is this is my philosophy. Trying to create a fun and competitive learning environment where baseball is used as a means of developing skills and values that our student athletes can successfully apply to all areas of their life. And that's it. So I've come up with that. I really like that. I feel really good about my philosophy and the direction that gives our program, and I expect that to stick. Yeah, I don't have a hitting philosophy. I just think there's so much that goes into hitting. The permutations and the important factors in hitting are really ceaseless. It's hard to put it all together into one succinct, applicable, useful philosophy. And so for me, I break it down into three keys. I think the three keys for me are vision, efficiency, and contact point. And probably each of those three areas might be a little bit different from what your perception might be, or what your expectation might be in their definitions, or how they are described. For instance, in vision, I would also include tracking and anticipating, plate discipline, things like that. So in each of those three categories is, some subcategories there that, kind of make those categories, the major categories, what they are. And those are very important. And maybe that sounds too complicated, whatever, but I think that's the reason why you just can't have a single philosophy. Just don't think it would work. Well, when it comes to the mental side of the game, I certainly ask my players to go and look up, mental baseball videos. I love Ken Revisa and all the work that he did in his life, and he really made the mental side of the game really gain the way that the game gained in sabermetrics, and has done so in pitching with maybe Tom House, and has done with hitting with the incorporation of so much video analytics. So, the mental side of the game is important. And so there's some resources out there for them to look at and to study on. Now, with that being said, the biggest thing that I do with my players, and I talk about what's right for you. I think coaches can get trapped into thinking there's one way to do the mental side of the game. The way that they can get trapped into thinking there's one way to do other elements of the game. I tell my players, look, Some of you are gonna have to be the kind of guy who walks up to the plate, is hyper focused on your at bat, thinks about the objective, thinks about the count, thinks about the sequence before you got up to the plate. Somebody who has to think about their breathing, maybe somebody who has to visualize their success before it happens, maybe somebody who has to look at the label of their bat, or look at their hands, or look at their feet to get their mind reset. Somebody who maybe has to think abstractly. Or you might just be a guy who winks at your girlfriend on the way up to the plate, gives dad a head nod, goes up there, spits on the dirt, picks up the dirt, throws the dirt, looks on the stands, looks at the pitcher, looks around the field, and goes, where am I going to get a base hit right now? You might be that guy. You might be a guy who can use quab, who can to be focused on just quality at bats, doing something for the team. That might be the best fit for you. But you might also be a guy who kind of has this, what I would call a Jordan-esque mentality, where you set a goal, right? And you try to reach that goal. And if you fall short of that goal, you can't stand it. A fire burns in you to always succeed. And the idea, I think, behind that is that you push yourself to reach that goal more and more and more than you would if you otherwise didn't have that kind of approach. I think both of those ways can be right for a certain player. So we just talk about all those different things. And then in each of those areas, we kind of get into a little bit more. But overall, I think there's lots of different ways to help prepare yourself for success, and help make yourself a little bit more resilient. Certainly there are things in the field that you can do to help yourself be more focused and to help not be so tight. Right? I think there's always that balance between being focused and being tight. Being efficient, but not being rushed. All these things matter. And I think each player has got to find sort of their range for what's best for them. Beyond that, you come into my program, I tell my players there's not a lot of mind games going on here. Okay? I'm just going to tell you straight out. You did this well. This is how you did it well. You did this wrong. This is how you did it wrong. I'm not going to get caught into, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. Certainly there are things, I don't know. You just do it. I try not to think about trying to be positive or trying to be negative for purposes of getting a player's mind right. It's not the priority. The priority is addressing the situation. And I think my players, the players that I've had in the past and the players that I have now, kind of appreciate that. It's just, I think a kid, don't tell me that I'm doing really good and then, you sit me on the bench 3 out of the last 4 games or whatever it is. Just shoot straight. And I think a lot of players come to appreciate that. So that's what I do. I think I talk a lot about when I grew up, the first coach that I really kind of wanted to model myself after was Bill Parcells. I grew up in sort of that Drew Bledsoe, coming of age in that Drew Bledsoe period. You see what Bill Parcells did, and he completely turned the franchise around. And Bill Parcells' guy likes to dig in on guys and tweak guys, and maybe that works better for football than it does for baseball. And so you think, wow, that's cool. Maybe I should be doing it that way. And baseball's just I don't think that really applies well to baseball, and it's not something that I've ever done. I kind of figured out even before I got serious about coaching or got into coaching, that's probably not going to work well. Um, so there's none of that. There's none of that. I don't feel like I need to tweak up my players, and they always have my respect. So that's another element that you know try to talk about and try to be conscientious of.